Hello, welcome to Connections. I'm Angela. I'm so glad so many of you are on the call so far tonight. Dr. Ray and Jean will be here in just a couple of minutes. But for the time being, what I'm going to try to do is to share my screen so that I can pull up a promotional video that they wanted to show you. This is concerning their upcoming weekend intensive, and they might be talking about that a little bit tonight because they'll be bringing up a lot of things that they know and have learned about relationships and what it means to be in a marriage or in a committed part. That's one thing that they wanted to start with, was a little bit about their weekend intensive and why they are doing such a thing, what their intention behind it is, and how they brought their own studies and research and knowledge about relationships to this weekend intensive. If you want to participate in the conversation tonight, you are more than welcome to do so, because you have the chat box and also the Q&A feature. And both ways, you could submit through the chat directly to me, and I'll see if we can ask your question or share your comment. And on the Q&A, you can do so anonymously as well. Participation in this webinar is helpful. Ray and Jean love to take questions. So what I'm going to do right now is share my screen. And it'll give us enough time to, hello.
Hello.
So we're just about to share the screen. And Ray, it might work well, since I'm sharing my screen, for you to go ahead and share this on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we're just going to go ahead and share right now to watch the video.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Jean, and we're so excited to offer you this Couples Weekend Intensive.
Too often we hear about couples who are in love with each other, but just feel like something is missing. The relationship has become something they long for, but their lives are driven by work, children, and everyday stress, leaving no time to nurture their connection.
Just like a flower needs sunlight, water, and care, a relationship is its own living, breathing.
Oh,
Hi, I'm Dr. Ray.
sorry, looks like we got a little cut off on it. Just waiting for it to load the rest of it.
Let's just start talking about it.
All right, so you good?
Yeah. So we wanted
Okay.
to talk about the weekend and why we think it's important and what you're going to get from it.
So we were thinking about this concept earlier, and the concept about your house. All right. So day by day, we just go through our house, and maybe we see like a little loose doorknob, or like a chair railing that's
Mail
starting to
piles
come.
up.
Yeah, just little things
Mhm.
here and there that start to kind of deteriorate over time, okay, and pile up over time. And the concept of a spring cleaning is that at some point you just go through your house and you clear out all the garbage that you've been collecting. You go through and you fix all the things that are starting to deteriorate and that are broken, and you really get the house renovated to a place that you want it to be.
You're not just the normal cleaning of, the floors and the bathrooms, but, the windows and the floorboards and picture frames and all the stuff that, just collects dust and just, gets dingy and dirty. And whenever you do that, you walk in the house and it feels great.
Yeah.
That there's more sunlight, it's brighter, there's more energy. It energizes you. You eat better, you take better care of yourself. And that's kind of why we strongly recommend walkabouts, right?
Yeah. So the concept of the walkabout, and some of you watching may have already done a walkabout, but the concept of the walkabout is, the word comes from the Australian Aborigine tribe. And, when you hit a certain age in the tribe, you went out into the wilderness and you walked about until you found yourself. And once you found yourself, you came back, rejoined the tribe, fulfilled your purpose and meaning in the tribe. And so often we give our clients a walkabout assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And that assignment is to go someplace that they've never been before for a minimum of 48 hours, maximum of 72 hours. And during that time, you cannot distract yourself in any way, right? So you cannot
Watch
you can't watch TV,
can't have your phone on.
Sure, you can't watch TV,
No
you can't
social
listen
media,
to the radio, you
no
can't
books.
bury your nose in a book
Right.
either. Burying your nose in a book is just, distraction as well. So, and no alcohol, you can't talk to anybody, you can't know anything about the place you're going to, and so the whole purpose of that is really to be in the moment. And when you're in the moment, you have to check into within yourself and understand what you want in that moment and be able to really tune into that voice inside that we often we lose connection with, right?
Yeah, we are so overwhelmed with all the things going on in our life that we can't hear our own voice. It's so loud. There's everywhere you go, there's sound on, whether it's in your car, it's your radio, you go into a restaurant, it's TVs, you walk into work, it's your coworkers, you walk in your house, it's your kids. And there's just so many things pulling at our attention and distraction. And so on a walkabout, it's quiet. And what ends up happening is you start listening to the thoughts in your own head. Initially the thoughts are kind of like, oh, did I throw the clothes in the dryer? Did I remember this or that? And then, that kind of wears itself out. That's the first couple hours of a walkabout. And then you realize, hey, I'm in a different place and I want to see this newness and what is there to see. And so, maybe you feel like going for a walk, maybe you feel like taking a nap. A lot of us aren't getting enough sleep. So maybe you're taking a nap, going for a walk, just checking things out. What are you going to eat? And you start to then hear this higher level thinking that you have inside of you. So it's this concept of kairos versus chronos.
So those are Greek words, and Greeks have two words for the word time, kairos and chronos. Chronos is what we know, and that's the clock time, right? Minute by minute. And then there's kairos, which kairos really means time away with God. So anytime you have that moment where you just kind of got lost in the moment, right? Time seems to have slipped past you. You just seem to be just really in the flow. That is kairos. And in doing a walkabout individually, that kairos time is really important for us to be able to connect with ourselves. Once a person does the walkabout for themselves individually, we have them do a couples walkabout.
Right. And that's, we don't have enough of this face-to-face time. We have plenty of this where we're maybe doing a common experience together, watching a screen, whatever, but like really eyeball contact and talking and listening and having fun and exploring new things. And, when you are in an unfamiliar place, you're more likely to want to be closer to something familiar. And so going through those new experiences together, it deepens your bond. And then you also have this experience of a shared new experience, which gives you a stronger bond as well. And so there's not a lot of places you can go to anymore. I remember the first time we went to Mexico, you couldn't call home. We were gone for 3 nights and 4 days. and our kids were like, I don't know, 5 and 15, and we couldn't call home. They didn't know there wasn't even cell phones yet.
Right. Right.
And now you can be on a cruise ship and you can still get your internet and your phone works. And,
Yeah.
we are
Yeah.
just way, way, way too connected so far out there that we don't connect enough in here with the person you're in the room with. And so what we were showing you was the place where the weekend is going to be. And one of the things we love about it is there's no TVs in the inn.
Right. Very, it's over 100 years old. It's
Yep.
very rustic. It's got, wood burning fireplaces, rocking chairs, the whole porch is lined with rocking chairs. It is just really a great place to do a walkabout, couples walkabout. And, the weekend intensive is really that spring cleaning of your relationship.
Right.
Right. And that's so necessary. I mean, how many times do businesses come together and do meetings, about brainstorming where they're at and where they want to go. They set goals.
They do team building,
they
right?
do
retreats.
They talk about what hasn't worked, what does work, and all of that is designed in a way to improve. How often do couples do that for their relationship? Not too often at all. And this investment in your relationship is so necessary. This investment of time, investment of energy, right? And so we not only are proponents of investing in yourself individually, you have to do your own self-growth, but also then taking that time and energy to invest in your relationship in a way that it's very drastic. It's like just shutting out the world, because that's what's necessary now, right? We can't go anywhere without being contacted or being bombarded.
A lot of times we hear this, that couples, they're not even checking in every day with each other, because as soon as they get a little space and time together, they get in a fight. And the weekend is designed to disrupt all of those patterns that, when there's a little space, you start talking, you just bring up all the stuff that you're not happy about. Like you're pointing out, hey, the windows need cleaning. Well, I don't want to do it, so to speak, if you're talking about your house analogy, but they don't know how to get to that place of what to really do with those things beyond that. And so that's what you learn on the weekend is, how do you resolve those conflicts that are just too painful to talk about? They always start an argument. It feels crappy. And so you learn all that stuff too. So it's beyond the spring cleaning. It's actually a remodeling as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So in past webinars and podcasts, we've talked about conflict and how that is, it's necessary for one. Two, it's inevitable in every relationship, so couples are going to fight. Now, what typically happens with couples is that they kick the can down the street. They put the kids in the middle, all the other priorities that they have going on in their life take, that front seat. And because of that, all of the issues that they have been collecting along the way keep getting pushed further and further back. And then what happens is that they find themselves on vacation, and then that's when a fight, erupts. Okay.
And if they go on vacation long enough, it usually erupts, they make up, and then they have sex, and they probably hadn't even been having much sex for a while because they don't even have space and energy in their life for it.
Or they just bottle it up. They don't deal with it. They don't actually process anything. And then they go back to their lives, and the resentment grows and the distance grows between the two of them. This is something that every couple deals with, every single couple. All right. We have not met a couple that doesn't fight and is perfect in their communication. Okay.
Yeah. I was talking to one of my clients, and we were kind of talking about what it feels like in the relationship, the loneliness and the just the missed communication and not being read. Right. We would love our partner to have a crystal ball and just, we won't have to ask for our needs to be met. We could just, they could guess at it. Right.
Yeah.
And so both people typically are feeling exactly the same way, and they think the other person is feeling like they don't care, when they really do care. They just don't know how to get that across. And so all the things that you'll be doing on the weekend are, they're like, what do they call it in video games when you get extra help? Cheat codes.
Oh,
Like cheat codes, you know, you just level up, you know, and before you know it, you know, people always talk about, I wish we could go back to the way it used to be. And the way it used to be was without all the distraction.
Yeah.
Because you were making your relationship a priority, and there weren't probably kids yet, and there weren't all this other obligations in life that happens. And so it's really difficult to create that space again and carve that out.
You know, I was talking with a client the other day, and the phrase that it just seems like it shouldn't be this hard came up, right? And, you know, I said, yes, it actually is supposed to be this hard, right? It gets easier over time if you're actually doing the work, but it's very challenging to be in a relationship with another person, a committed relationship with another human being. It's the most difficult thing we will ever have to do. And so if we are not working at it, if we're not learning from each other, if we're not growing, you know, and that's kind of what the weekend is really designed around, is that investment, that infusion of time and energy into your relationship so that you can grow, you can get to that next level, you know, and believe us, we know exactly what that's like. I mean, we work on our relationship all the time, you know.
We had
So a question that came up was, can unmarried couples go on the weekend?
yes.
Okay, great. That was a
But
simple answer.
But not as individuals.
Not friends.
Yeah.
That you have
right.
to be in a coupled
In
relationship.
a committed relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, this is not a weekend that's designed for someone that is newly dating, you know, and that they're just starting to establish their relationship.
Right.
You know, this is a weekend that is designed for two people that are committed to each other. Okay. And so it's to learn really those skills of communication and conflict resolution, and, you know, how to really connect at a deeper level where you are learning what you're supposed to learn from each other.
Right. You know, I was thinking about, you know, a couple of years ago, we had personal trainers, and they were like bodybuilders, and we like, does it ever feel good? Like, does working out ever get to a point where it feels good? They're like, no. And it's kind of the same way, but you know, you don't have to do the work. You could just not have a great relationship. You know, that you can stay separate and in your lonely place and disconnected and not healing is absolutely an option. And many couples do that. In fact, a lot of couples have found like that comfortable place. It's that analogy of the electric fence, right?
Yeah.
When there's an electric fence, if the dog goes out in the yard and they're in the center of the yard, they feel fine. As they get to the edge, it starts to hurt and they go back to where it's comfortable. But the truth is, if they would tolerate that uncomfortableness, they could get to the other side of that electric fence and be free. And that's our goal. So we're not really talking about people who are looking for entertainment as much as people who really want a really great, deep connection.
Yeah, this is not a vacation. No, this is just,
but it will be fun.
It will absolutely be fun. And the fun is designed around, you know, connecting, you know, at a deeper level with your partner. You know, people who go on walkabouts, that's not a vacation either. You know, if you're going away by yourself, you're removing all distractions, you're really tuning inward. That's a lot of hard work. You know, we did a 10-day silent retreat, Vipassana retreat. And when you're locked in your head for that long, you know, feelings and memories and thoughts from way in the past come to the surface you didn't even know existed, right? And it's designed to be that way. We're designed to have downtime and quiet time so that we can process the things that we're thinking about.
Right. Yeah, we're not supposed to be on all the time. Angie, did you want to share it all? I know you've done a walkabout, what it did for your life and how it might have changed things for you.
Sure. So I would say I've done a couple or a few. I haven't really done one in a while, but at least on one that I can remember, it is always hard. Sometimes it seems easier, and I would say that depends on the level of anger or irritation or feeling stuck that I have in my life, right? And then I want to push myself to go out on a walkabout. So, going on a walkabout is hard for me because I don't really like being alone. Uh, Anxiety comes into play, but then there's other things, and I'm not used to it. And, I want to attach to my husband or to other people. So, going on a walkabout, though, is a really good way for me to reset because since I am someone who likes to be around other people, I, I don't really think just to myself so often, right? I don't really think, you know, what do I necessarily want to do or like, and all of those things. I wonder if you two have ever had the experience in a walkabout where one of your weaknesses comes out. For me, it's like spending money on myself is weakness. I'm not very good at that. But the walkabout forces me to do that. Otherwise, I don't spend any money. That means I don't eat anything, I don't buy anything, right? So that's a little bit about my experience. So, what kind of weaknesses have sort of come to the surface for you two?
So
You
you
got
want to go
one?
first? Yeah.
You got
Okay. So, one of the things is the feeling of needing to be somewhere, right? Or that there's something that needs to be done, right? I found myself going on a walkabout and I was like speeding to get to the hotel. And I thought to myself, I stopped myself and I was like, why am I speeding? I don't have a time frame. There's like no timeline here. I don't have to be anywhere at any given time. And so, when we get into this mode of this is how my life is supposed to be, this is what I need to do, it's really hard to break that. And that's why we say that the walkabout needs to be a minimum of 48 hours because it takes like more than 24 hours for us to almost deprogram
Mm-hmm.
ourselves
Yeah.
from how our lives have been. What about you for any weaknesses that came up?
Um, I think in general, and I think this is sort of a girl thing, a female brain thing, that a lot of my life is focused on other people
Hmm.
and what they need or what they want or how we're going to get things done. And so when I'm on a walkabout, I, I feel this tremendous freedom, and it is something, if you know me at all, I have 8 brothers and sisters. And so I never had much alone time. And then I became a mom before I really became an adult, and got married while we already had a kid and had another kid. And we worked together. We spent a lot of time together. So I don't get that very much. And I think that's why, in particularly, I like hiking, because when we hike, we don't talk. I don't know if you've ever hiked a mountain. It's pretty hard work.
Yeah.
So you're really focused on getting your job done of getting up and over the mountain. But it gives me time to hear my own thoughts and feel my own feelings. And probably like at a certain point, I just kind of get to like, can I go back? Can I go home? Can I dive back into my life? And then a little while after that, I always have some awesome experience. Something really great just happens, whether, I see an owl, or I learn something, or I find something that looks really cool. Then I'm always very excited to come home and not just tell you about it, but be like, all right, come here, let me show you exactly what I was doing. Yeah. And then I feel that connection again. And I don't think enough of us get that kind of time where we fill ourselves up enough where it's like, okay, I can go back. We're like, it's like if you plug in your cell phone at night, but in the morning it's only at like 60%. And so you're still never like at full strength ever. And so to me, it feels like that really good infusion of energy. both as an individual person and as an expansive energy to listen to something bigger than myself. That's that Kairos time,
Hmm.
right?
Well, I think it really helps you kind of reprioritize what really
Mhm.
is important in your life, right? And how often do we put a lot of energy towards things that really don't give back,
Right.
And so we need that reset to be able to really take a look at what's important, and to kind of reshuffle that energy. Now, that's done individually. Now, when a couple goes on their walkabout, they are supposed to remove all distractions. They're not supposed to plan anything either. So there is no like reservations anywhere, right? And they are to just kind of move about life, making decisions together in that moment,
Which can be tricky.
which can be very, very challenging, especially
And then they
for,
want to modify it or
yeah,
manage the other person.
especially
Like,
for
oh, you're not supposed to
couples
be on your phone. You're not supposed to
who
do
can't,
this or
yeah, they
whatever.
don't know how to deal with conflict,
Hmm.
or maybe there's power struggles going on in the relationship, and trying to find that balance
Yep.
between the two of them is really key. I mean, that's a key learning lesson in doing a couples walkabout.
Yeah. So one of the things you're doing is you're throwing yourself into uncertainty. We like certainty as human beings. We like to know where our house is. We want to leave and come back and it's still there. We like that kind of certainty. And when you go to somewhere you've never been, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that's a very anxiety producing thing. And especially when you have to, Angie talked about spending money on yourself, but you have to spend time on yourself, which means you're taking that time away from the family resources or wherever it's pulling from normally. And so it's something that it's not just a selfish thing in a good way for yourself, but it's also a gift from your family that says, I've got this, you can go.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember almost every moment of every walkabout I've ever done. And that's what happens. It is such an intense experience that it's like you're firing on all cylinders and you're so awake and so alive. And sometimes it's scary. I had a really scary one where I was I was in a cabin that I had just drove up and found this cabin on Lake Michigan up in Kenosha. And it's literally like just a bed and a bathroom in a cabin, but you're not connected to anything. And someone knocked on my door at midnight.
Yikes.
Yeah. So I didn't stay 2 nights in that place, but I mean, nothing happened, but there are those moments and again, you just remember it. And there's just a depth to it that we don't get enough of in life.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
one of the questions that came up as you
Mhm.
both are talking about a couple's walkabout, someone asked, so if we wanted to do a couple's walkabout, does that mean we pack for a couple of days, we get in the car and we just start driving?
Mm.
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Mhm. So that's how I do my walkabouts, because I'm usually doing a walkabout because I'm really upset about something and I just really can't. I've had it and I've got to go. And I have nothing planned. I just start driving in some direction. Sometimes I plan it a little bit, like I'll know I'm going to go. Just I can feel the need to do that,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't pick a place. I just drive until I find something. But you typically,
I've done kind of a variation on a variety of different
Mhm.
things. Like I've thrown camping gear into the car and just picked a direction and drove
Mhm.
until I found a camping sign. Um, Sometimes I'll throw a dart on a map and just get a hotel room in that wherever that place is, and then just go there. Um, we've had clients get on
Planes.
planes and just find a cheap
Trains.
ticket somewhere, trains.
Yeah.
We've had people just drive in one direction.
It's really about intention. It's
Yeah.
really about intending to spend some quality time with yourself and not distract yourself and stay present. Feel what you feel and
Mhm.
act on those feelings. And when you do that, you wire yourself in a different way, because if you ever have been around a small child, the word they hear the most often is no. Don't do this, don't do that. No, 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 no. And whatever they feel like doing, they're constantly being told no. Well, at one point we were those children.
Mhm.
And so this is a time to say yes. If you feel like going for a walk, go for a walk. You want to jump in a lake, jump in a lake, whatever. Right. And you just allow it to unfold quite organically. And that's the flavor of it. It's in any given moment, what do you feel like doing, and do that. And so, the thing with having a plan is you don't have to figure it out. You don't have to, what if you don't feel like staying at that hotel or that town,
What if where you're staying, like the
Yeah,
place that you were
didn't
at,
work.
it didn't work out, it was
Mhm.
unsafe or whatever. You should have the ability to change your mind, right?
Right.
And too often we get locked into the plans that we set for ourselves, and we don't know what things are going to be like once we get there.
Mhm.
And so we need to be able to be flexible. We have to be able to check in with our gut. It kind of reminds me of this one episode that Oprah did, where they had a camera in an elevator in a parking garage, and there was a man who was an actor, and he was kind of large and scary, and they had him in the back of the elevator and just standing there. And they filmed these women coming up to the elevator doors open, and they kind of jump back because there's this guy standing in the elevator. 9 times out of 10, the women got into the elevator, and they were interviewed afterwards and asked, what did you feel when you saw the doors open? They said, well, I felt scared. I felt afraid. And then they would ask them, well, why did you get into the elevator? And all of them would say that I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to be rude.
So
to be judgmental.
They were not listening to their gut, right? And that is probably across the board of all the clients that we work with, the most important thing that clients need to learn is how to connect with that message inside and your gut feeling. Your gut is always going to be right? And if we're not taking the time to connect with that, then we don't know how we show up in our relationships.
Yeah.
Right? We don't know where we begin or where we end. And so now you take two people who don't know themselves and they come together in a relationship and they try to create something together. Well, it's like, doing a three-legged race and both people trying to run in opposite directions. It's just not going to work. Right. And so that couples walkabout has to happen after an individual walkabout, right? Because we have to do the work on ourselves individually before we can do the work together as a couple.
I was just actually talking to a client about this. During our domestication, our gut, which is, I promise you, your gut works and it's 100% accurate, but it gets like this cloud around it. The cloud is all of the people in our lives that are telling us, no, don't feel that way, don't think that way, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, when really you were right. And she was talking about in her marriage, she's divorced right now, and in her marriage, she did things that made her uncomfortable. And we were kind of talking like, why didn't you say something or do something different? And she's like, I really didn't even know. It's like I woke up one day and I was like, why am I doing these things? And she didn't want to be abandoned, she didn't want to look insecure, she didn't want to reject him, and so she said yes to things that didn't feel right to her. And I think that's a really common thing that happens in the beginning stages of a relationship. If your person loves hockey and you don't really like hockey, you're going to a hockey game just to hang out with them. And it's okay at that point. But, if I don't know how often hockey is, 3-4 times a week. If you're sitting there,
that's a lot,
3 or 4 times a week watching hockey and you don't really like it, and that's become your life, that's really draining. And it's not honoring yourself for who you are, or what you came here to do or feel or think or believe. But when we don't clear away that cloud around our gut, we don't even know we've done it. It's the boiling frog thing, right?
Yeah. So I think we talked about this in our last podcast, right? But if you take a pot of water and you have it boiling and you throw a frog in, it's going to notice the difference in temperature. It's going to jump out. But if you put the pot of water on the stove, room temperature, put the frog in and then turn on the stove, the frog is going to boil to death.
Yeah, right? It's just going to feel really nice. Oh, it's getting warm until it's too late.
Right.
And, because of our domestication and, kids today, they're on a camera at birth. They got the baby cam, right? And someone's watching them and watching them and
Mhm.
watching them.
Yeah.
So they never get to that point in life, where they have a year of their life to just get to know themselves and feel their own feelings and make up their own decisions rather than what society wants them to be or their family wants them to be or their friends or their partner or whatever. So it's like that, it's just a slow boil
Yeah.
until they realize they're in a bad spot. But if you do take time for yourself, you will feel that boiling water once you go back. You'll feel it's not okay.
Just to kind of jump on what you're saying, it is even so more important today
Mhm.
because we are bombarded, because we are
Yeah.
on camera. We're on 3 cameras actually right here, and so we have to counter it with
Mhm.
that connection and that
Yeah.
reset button that I was talking about. You have to reset within yourself and you have to reset within the relationship. And so it's needed, more often now
Yeah.
than
Mhm.
even before.
Right. So that video that Angie was playing, you can find that and you can see it's a beautiful inn. It's lovely. We vacation there even when we're not working.
Yeah, and
But it's a
if you're
beautiful
watching
place to be.
on Facebook Live right now,
Mhm.
on the Couple Synergy page, we have the video.
On the events page,
Yeah,
right?
on the events page
Yeah,
for
for
the
the
weekend
weekend.
intensive, and
Mhm.
that weekend intensive is on April 15th through the 18th, and so it is going to be an awesome time.
Mhm.
Think about just rejuvenating, your relationship, feeling so much more connected together, and walking away with a lot of secrets and tips and tools and tricks that we've learned along the way, of coaching thousands of
Yeah.
couples for close to 20 years now.
And just to mention in the times that we're in, we have decided to, keep it a rather small gathering so
Mhm.
that it isn't overwhelming for us that haven't been socializing very much in about a year. So it will be we're still going to have the whole inn, but we're not even going to half capacity, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
So, and of course it'll be 100% refundable if for whatever reason something it closes down or can't happen, of course. But
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. And it's going to be awesome.
We are definitely looking forward to it.
Mhm.
It's kind of been, a dream of ours to, do these weekend intensives all around the country and, even spread out into the world and be able to provide these services for people and be able to help couples really connect at a place that they never knew possible. Right.
And
Oh yeah. Yeah.
these will be in the gift bag. Oh, it's getting too shiny. Couple Synergy wine glasses. That's fun.
Yes, and the Saturday night during the weekend intensive is going to be a dinner dance. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Yes, a lot of fun.
I just want to really quick talk about this concept and then we can actually do a meditation around it. But, there's something about being in a relationship that either makes you feel like opening up and that opening is your heart opens and allows another person in. And that does all sorts of things in a really healing way for ourselves on a biological level. Or we do the opposite and we
Close up.
close up and
Yeah.
fold in and we block those kind of things. And of course, the folding up and blocking is safer. And
It's a natural reaction.
Yep.
When we
Mhm.
get hurt or if there's
Yeah.
risk of being hurt, rejected, abandoned, to close up and shut down,
Mhm.
it's a natural thing that couples are going to do in relationships
Right.
because who is going to hurt you the closest person, right? They are definitely going to hurt you and that's inevitable.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're not doing it intentionally. Okay. But there are going to be times that you might say something or do something that unintentionally is going to hurt your partner. Now, how couples handle that, is going to determine whether they're going to move closer together or they're going to move farther apart.
Yeah. And if you haven't been making those deposits and you have a lot of stressors, that's a sad, hard way to live.
Right.
Very painful, very painful. Reminds me of that song by the one who's on The Voice. Say something, I'm giving up on you. Christina.
Yeah, it's a Christina Aguilera song
Yeah.
with another band. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was someone did a video of it, and there's a girl just standing in front of a guy, and he's singing this to her, and she just stands there the whole time in silence.
That's
And it's
actually the original.
so painful.
That's
Is
the-
it?
Yeah, that's the original.
And a lot of people, they just don't know how to say something. You know, they didn't learn it as children, and they don't have the confidence, or they don't think someone's going to respect them or honor that or want to know
Or they've been
that.
hurt along
Yeah.
the way, and they've learned to protect themselves and guard themselves from being hurt, which is,
Yeah.
completely understandable.
So that's another component to the weekend, is learning to open up in a safe way and to have some professionals around to help if it gets a little muddy.
Yes. And
So
just so that everyone knows, opening up with the understanding that your partner will hurt you at some
Mhm.
point. That is just going to happen. Now, how you deal with that, how the two of you, heal that and rectify that. That's what we're here to teach you.
You often relate that to someone who's been burned, like, and we
Right.
call it getting burned, right?
Yeah.
But like if your skin is burnt, you have to.
They have to debride it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's, so if
And-
you have a burn wound, they have to scrub that wound. They have to
Mhm.
debride it, because if they don't, then infection will set in. And so,
And if they do that, then it heals. And
Right.
that is why when you open up, it's going to hurt, because there's something that has to get released and come out in order to make more room for that love to come in, and for that safer feeling, and to trust again and bond. So it's all of the above. It's why it's called an intensive, because it's going to be intense
Yeah.
on those levels, but really, really awesome and exciting.
Right.
Really
right.
looking forward to doing this. So, Ange, any other questions, or are we ready to meditate?
No more questions. It was, just some things concerning the weekend. You answered most of them, and I put in the chat the link to, to learn more about the weekend, and people can watch the video. And there's also a button on that page that allows anyone to schedule a call if they think it would be more helpful to ask any of their
Mhm.
detailed questions about maybe any of the changes going on with the weekend, right? Myself or our other couple synergy coach, Andrea, would be happy to take that call, meet with you via Zoom, and answer those questions.
Good point, Ange. That's absolutely, because we want to make sure it's a good fit for everybody.
Absolutely.
There was something else I was going to say about that. I lost it.
Stay tuned.
It
She
went
might
away.
remember it.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone.
If you have any questions, just message us here on Facebook, or send an email to contact@couplesynergy.com. Just so that we have been working with couples since 2002, and it is truly our passion in helping a couple turn their relationship around. It's really awesome. I mean, just kind of sometimes brings, tears to my eyes when, we see them smiling and, feeling that closeness again.
Mhm.
When we first started meeting with them, they were close to divorce. Right.
Right.
So, this is taking couple synergy to, this grander scale here. Being able to reach a lot more people is, truly our passion and our dream. We would be honored, if for any of you who want to join us on the weekend intensive, to just join us and have some fun and learn some things.
We're pretty fun people, so
I don't know, maybe
hang out.
a little bit.
All right.
All right. So we're going to go into meditation, right?
Mhm.
And I think we heard from someone the other day. They were like, I just got to tell you, we don't stay for the meditation. It's okay. Okay. But there's a lot of great benefit to meditation,
Mhm.
especially meditating together. All right. I mentioned that Jean and I, we did a 10-day silent meditation retreat. You are meditating in a room full of, I don't know, 30, 40 people, and there's just a lot of power in that. And when couples meditate together, not just one person meditating in one room and the other person in another room, but meditate in the same room together, there is this like synergy that is created,
Ding ding.
with that energy, just being in the same room together, breathing together, and it is just a way of, creating more intimacy, in your
Right,
relationship.
because a bonded couple regulates each other's biorhythms, so
Right.
you help each other out. One more thing, really quick, for those of you that are staying to meditate and enjoy learning about spiritual concepts. Every first Wednesday of the month, I'll be doing a spiritual development group, and that's in the events page as well. And the first one is tomorrow night. And tomorrow night, we're talking about the tarot and how you can use it in your life to learn more about who you are and what you came here to do.
Got a lot of great stuff.
Mhm,
I
yep.
do a men's empowerment group once a
Mhm.
month. It's the second Thursday of every month. So the next that we just started, one class last month, and then the second class here is going to be on February 11th
Right.
from 6 to 7 o'clock. So, in the events page, you're going to find links, to register for those groups and information about them. Angie is also doing an anxiety group, which is very, very needed in today's day and age.
Right.
Okay. And transformations is going to be coming up. There's so much stuff
Yeah.
that we got going on. So yeah, check it out.
All right, let's do this.
Okay. Just ready to meditate.
And just become aware of your body and the room that you're in. And as you exhale, gently close your eyes. And as you exhale and close your eyes, you can feel the softening, which allows you to move closer to that place of kairos, vertical time with yourself. And just for a moment, be aware of any sounds you can hear in the room. And you notice that as your eyes are closed, your hearing gets a little bit sharper. You might be able to hear the tick of a clock or other sounds that are white noise that you're not normally aware of. And use those sounds as reference points from where you end and the world begins. And now take a moment to focus on your thoughts. Observe your thoughts without judgment. As you breathe in, be fully aware of your thought. As you breathe out, breathe the thought out and wait for the next thought to come. Your mind will never stop thinking, and the goal of meditation is not to stop thinking. The goal of meditation is to become an observer of your thinking, which allows you to take your thoughts and use them in a more powerful way. And as you're focused on your thinking, be aware of the random thoughts that come into your mind. They're usually invasive, and they're usually negative. Someone who irritates you, a distraction, someone who wants something from you, someone who's annoyed you or hurt you. And know that that's really natural, that our brains are designed to pay attention to our negative thought much faster than our positive thought. And now I want you to imagine that you're walking in a path in a forest of large redwood trees. And be aware of the smell and the sounds around you. And feel the softness of the earth as you walk. Look up at the trees and how small you are in comparison. Some of these trees are 2,000 years old or older. And just stand in that presence. And as you continue to walk, the path begins an upward ascent up the side of a mountain. And before you know it, you're looking down at those very tall trees. And you're completely surrounded by earth, rocks, and the sky above you is vast and beautiful. And as you walk up and over a ridge, you see a beautiful mountain lake. And it's perfectly protected, so there's no wind. And the surface is like a mirror. And go over to the lake and look down into that mirror, looking into your eyes. And see the natural part of you looking back at yourself. And as you look at your reflection in this beautiful mountain lake, remember your dreams, what you want for your life. What you hoped for as a child before life got in the way. Who you wanted to be. Your own personal daydream of your greatness and your best life. And feel the emotion of that once again as you make a commitment to yourself to find more time to listen to this part of you, the deepest part of you inside, and the greatest potential outside. And make a vow to declutter your life, to stop wasting time on things that don't fulfill you, as you strive for better and more, taking time to learn, to become stronger, healthier, and most importantly, to take a risk to step into the best life, the life you were born to live. And imagine reaching out with your hand and touching the surface of the water and distorting the image. Feel the coolness of the water in your hand. Splash a little on your face. And when you're ready, walk back down the path and into your life, refreshed, renewed, with a sense of purpose and commitment to your life and those that you love. And bring your attention back to your breath. And say a short prayer of gratitude for your healing. And gently open your eyes.
Hmm. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on our weekly webinar. Be sure to check out our podcast, which is released every Monday, anywhere you listen to podcasts. We've been also doing some video podcasts from time to time as well.
Got some good ones coming up.
It's on our YouTube channel.
And if you come to any of our workshops, you actually get to interact with us. So there's discussions and you can ask questions, and it's a great way to, spend some time with us where we actually can really answer and connect with you. So have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Until next time, synergize your life and synergize your love.